The smart professionals who are getting the most out of corporate is because they know how to negotiate like a pro. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you deal making techniques that you need to understand in order for you to get the best deals out of corporate. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Gloria, and let's get to it. The first thing that you need to do is to research and to build up your game plan. Now, let me break it down so that it makes sense. When you're getting into a negotiation room, you need to have done extensive research about the person that you're actually going to negotiate with. So you will need to know things like what is the goal of this particular party, what do they want from that particular negotiation, and do they meet with the standards and the things that you actually want when you work with this particular company. So it's very, very important you dive into extensive research about the company and also about the market, because if you didn't know, a lot of the times negotiations usually have an economic value as well as a market value. So a lot of the times you are going to be found in the middle intersection of these particular two values, because the party that is negotiating with you, they're trying to figure out whether they can economically afford you and whether that is an economical decision based on the capital and the resources they already have. And then for building your game plan, you also need to ensure that you are very strategic. So you are going to basically look at yourself or look inwardly as a contestant or as the other party in the negotiation table, and you're going to figure out where your leverage is. A lot of the times your leverage is going to be an extensive combination of your experience. It's also going to involve the level of competence you have in your skill set, as well as one interpersonal or human skill or soft skill that you have that is a great combination in that particular role that can allow you to have your competitive advantage as compared to maybe the other things that they're looking for in other parties they're considering for negotiating with and getting into deals with. So you need to also ensure you understand what is your career capital, so that you can be able to understand, or rather so that you can build a plan or strategy around how you're going to negotiate while leveraging your career capital. Now, I know I've spoken a lot of buzzwords, so if you're curious about any of the buzzwords I've shared with you, make sure to let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to do an extensive video talking about the things that I've mentioned that might not be making a lot of sense, or rather that are buzzwords in this particular video. Step number 2 is you need to prepare your partner. First of all, the definition of a partner essentially is a best alternative to a negotiated agreement. So you guys need to have done a back and forth with the other party for you to be able to see whether you actually have a ZOPA, which is a zone of possible agreement or not, so that you can know whether you're going to bring in your partner or not. So the first thing to have, or the first way to have a partner, is to have a competing offer. So whether you're looking for a job, or you're looking to get into an acquisition with a company, or you're looking to get into a temporary contract, you need to ensure that you already have some lineups of offers that you're considering, so that you have an option. Whether they give you something good or whether they give you something that is not matching up to what you currently need or what you currently want out of that particular deal, you need to have offers that are going to give you added leverage on top of your career capital. And then the second thing that you're going to outline in your partner is going to be your ideal kind of agreement. So what does that look like? Does that look like an increase in the money, in the current salary you're earning right now? Does that look like a promotion in the next 3 to 5 years? Does that look like 10%, 5 to 10% bonuses every 3 years that you've been able to achieve something significant in the company or not? You have to really define what your best agreement kind of looks like, so that you can be able to even be negotiating, because of the back and forth that you guys are going to have. You can be able to voice out what exactly it is you need from that particular agreement. And if I've not said this at the beginning of this particular video, I need you guys to take away this one key thing. when you're going to negotiate, whether in corporate or in other areas, you need to be prepared. You need to be very prepared about everything, because every single detail, every single piece of information you give, every single conversation you have in a negotiation room is going to set an expectation and set a standard for what this other party is going to take of you. Step number 3 is you need to have an anchor. An anchor, essentially, it's supposed to be the thing that is keeping you grounded in whatever you actually are looking for in that negotiation room. It can be a number, so maybe the salary you actually want to get paid. It can be the work culture that you want when you get into that particular company, or it can be your non-negotiable when it comes to that particular negotiation. So you need to define what your anchor is going to look like. And a lot of the times we are told, especially when you're negotiating, you need to have an anchor number that is actually going to be something that you are going to feel okay with. This is something that you're going to be content with, because that's the right word. Your anchor should be something you're content with. People can read energies in negotiation rooms. So you need to ensure that when you're picking an anchor, it's a number or it's a thing that will actually make you content with what you are going to be doing when you get in that deal with that particular company or group or party in a negotiation room. So there are 3 things that are going to help you come up with your anchor. And the first thing, because now we're discussing about the amount of money you're going to be asking, the first thing that you need to have, or the first number that you need to have, is the market rate or the market value for your particular level of expertise and your years of experience working in corporate. Because every single 3 to 5 years, every particular role or every particular job title in corporate is usually reviewed and assigned a market rate or a market value based on the demand and the economics of the human capital that is actually revolving in corporate. The second thing that's going to give you your anchor number is going to be your due diligence number. So your due diligence number essentially is a number that you've researched, it's a number that you're comfortable with, and it's a number that you are actually okay earning, whether you have the job title or not. Because a lot of the times people assign value to also the job titles they have. But you also need to ensure that when you're mentioning your anchor or when you're considering your anchor, you have done your due diligence. So this number must include a base rate, so your base salary, to ensure that your basic needs are met, whether or not they give you the allowances on top or not. It also includes your benefits and perks, so it is paying maybe to your retirement account. It's also giving you maybe medical benefits, parental leave benefits, maternity benefits. And then the third thing that can be included in your due diligence number is access to loans and all these benefits that usually come with you earning in a company. And then the third thing, or rather the third factor that is going to contribute to your anchor, is going to be a number that you're actually satisfied with. And I love giving percentages, because as you proceed with the years of experience and increase the competence you're getting as a professional, you should also match up the percentage of the value that you're adding when you are improving yourself as a professional. And this value needs to be a percentage. So instead of just saying, I want to be added 3,000 Kenyan shillings to my salary every salary review, you need to have a percentage. So that percentage can be 5% every time you add a new certification, or it can be 10% every time you enroll and complete as a 6 months bootcamp certification of some sorts. So that way you can be able to calculate even the salary that you're going to be negotiating in corporate for, because it's meeting up with the standards of the improvements that you're actually making as you improve yourself as a professional. Now let's talk about step number 4, which are mannerisms you're supposed to have when you are negotiating. Now, a lot of the times, negotiations are going to be high stakes conversations that are going to be very emotionally driven. And a lot of the times, your negotiations will require you to be very strategic and also to be an active listener, so that you can be able to pinpoint and see where the loopholes or the pitfalls for you as a professional that are going to be there, so that you do not reveal your strategy before the other team or the other party reveals their negotiation strategy. And the first thing that I will tell you about mannerisms in negotiation rooms is going to be strategic pauses. You need to learn when to keep quiet and when to speak based on how the conversation is flowing, because a lot of the times you will lose your power because you do not know how to regulate your emotions, and a lot is revealed when you speak. The second thing, or the second mannerism you're supposed to nail down, is being an active listener. Not listening to hear, but listening to actually listen. You need to learn to internalize exactly what the other party is sharing, so that you react and respond well to what they're saying to you. And this, I admit, takes a lot of practice. So you need to also practice, learn from your mistakes, learn from the interviews that didn't go well, learn from the deals that fell through, so that you can be able to pinpoint which areas you need to improve in your communication as well as listening. And then the third mannerism that I feel a lot of us do not pay attention to is knowing when to walk away. This is something that is going to give you a lot of power, because in negotiation rooms, you need to understand that this is a power dynamics kind of conversation, and the power shifts as well as the control of the room shifts. So you need to understand when to walk away. If the deal is not going according to what you want, if the deal sounds like something you're not going to necessarily be enjoying when you get into, if the deal sounds like something that doesn't feel right with you, maybe in the pit of your stomach or your gut is telling you that this is a wrong deal, you need to know that it's okay to walk away. Then step number 5 is mastering communications. And in this particular point, I just want to share with you 3 main things that I think you guys should learn about when it comes to negotiating and ensuring that you're communicating the right things in a negotiation room. Now, the first communication principle that you're supposed to have, I've already talked about it, is listening attentively. You need to listen more than you actually speak. And these are the techniques to listen more than you actually speak. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to observe the reactions of the other party, because these are going to be the verbal and nonverbal cues that you're going to use to tweak and ensure that the information you're sharing with them is actually at par with the energy that they're giving in that particular room. The second communication skill that I think a lot of us do not actually utilize is mirroring conversations. You are supposed to pinpoint, or rather you're supposed to note down the most important bits of the previous speaker statements, which you will use in your next statement. And then the third thing that you're gonna do is labeling. Now, labeling is you're putting it in a question. So you need to pinpoint the most important bits of a conversation and then use them as a question. So say for example, they were explaining to me or telling me that they cannot be able to meet up my salary because maybe they're not confident that I don't have maybe certifications or something of that sort, or the qualifications that they are looking for, quote unquote. Then I would start with a question like, my qualifications. So that will prompt them to start explaining to me what they actually meant by discrediting the qualifications I have. So the difference between mirroring is mirroring, you're going to put it in a statement, and then labeling, you're going to put it in a question. And so that is it when it comes to negotiating. I'm hoping that the points I've shared with you guys have been beneficial. If you've learned something, make sure to let me know in the comments section. I'm really hoping that you guys are enjoying our corporate conversations. So if you are, feel free to let me know in the comments section. But that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Make sure if you learned something from this particular video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you have any questions with regards to negotiation, corporate finance management, or any of the topics that you have, or questions and concerns you have with regards to being a corporate professional, make sure to let me know in the comment section and I will do videos addressing specifically that. But But that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and as always, I will see you